All right, today we are going to be talking about the business of being a doula. I am the craftswoman, also known as Abana. I do a certified doula. I've been a doula for over 11 years, a doula trainer since 2017. I'm also a certified yoni steam practitioner, womb yoga instructor, and midwife assistant, and also an unassisted home birther. I have been featured in Fox 26 Houston, on Fox 26 Houston TV station, and Voyage Dallas and Houston, to name a few. And I wanted to begin this class with talking about branding, first of all, because we as doulas, we do have a heart centered career because we are big on just helping people. Basically, that's what a doula does, is just help people. But you are doing this as a profession. It's not volunteer work. So you want to make sure that you're getting paid what you feel that you are owed, and you want to also charge your worth, your value, or you will get burnt out and leave the industry and start to resent it altogether. So before you getting into the business part or the beginning of the business part, you have to deal with branding. And everybody uses that word now. It's a real common word. Everybody's like branding, branding. It's not, it's something that's always been around. If you've been in marketing development, you've heard the word, but now it's, since small businesses are becoming more popular among people, everybody has a side hustle, everybody has LLC and have all these different side businesses. But branding is simply the promotion of a particular product or company by means of advertising and distinctive design. So there, if you want to think about examples of good branding, you can look at McDonald's, of course, and when you see those yellow arches, you already know, you already get a feeling of what it is. If it's the smell of the fries or the chicken nuggets, or, well, they don't have the playground like they used to, but certain things about that brand stands out. So that's one of the most popular brands, I believe, like the biggest brands internationally known. And it's also, they also have the largest real estate. So even though we know that they sell unhealthy food, but now they've been getting into selling like more salads and smoothies and stuff like that. It's still not the best, but if you, they do have some healthier options than the ones that they're most known for. And they actually, if you, there's a movie called The Founder that talks about how McDonald's actually started. And the way the brand is set up now is totally different than the way the actual founders wanted it. They wanted it to be more family friendly, and not, pretty decent meals, but of course a meal in a I think it was like a meal in a box. And that's where the family friendly branding will come from, the playground and the clown that they had, Ronald McDonald, which is no longer part of the brand. And you can also learn that their brand has changed over these years. And if something has been in business, I don't know if it's been 30, well, 50 years or so, the brand has definitely changed. And the founders actually sold it to another person who made it to what it is today, which he did not care about health. He was big on fast food. He just wanted it to taste good and for it to be delivered fast. So that's a brand that you can think of. Walmart and Target, or other big brands. They have their colors. Every brand has their different colors, and if you look into color meanings, you'll see that different colors exude different feelings. And a lot of fast food do use the color red and yellow. They say that that is supposed to cause you to get hungry. So when you're thinking about your actual brand colors, that's something to think about. So when it comes to your branding or why you're doing what you're doing to get into like try to get to the meat of it is like, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Why are you in this industry? Create your own mission statement or slogan. Develop your niche. What makes you stand apart? Create a clear vision. Create your own colors, themes. Don't copy, be original. Of course, because when you are original, really no people can try to duplicate you, but they really can't duplicate you because you have created something out of your own essence. So even with like Burger King and McDonald's, they can still be next to each other and they basically do sell a lot of the same things, but it's still different. It's still slightly different. So people feel like the doula industry is saturated. I don't really feel that way. Well, maybe when you're in the industry, you know a lot of doulas. So it can make you feel that way, but generally a lot of people still feel like there are no doulas because I'll get requests for doulas in certain areas like, oh, we don't have doulas in Virginia or we don't have doulas in DC or different areas when there's always doulas everywhere. Just like, there are well, there is a shortage. There is a shortage of midwives, but there's a lot more doulas because it takes less to become a doula, and there are states that don't allow home birthing and things like that. So you don't have to get into your mindset that it's saturated, but it doesn't matter because there's no shortage of pregnant women, and there's a lot of doulas out here who are not good. And that's the reality of it. I have been getting, I get a lot of complaints from doulas and midwives that they're unprofessional, that they don't answer the phone, they don't return phone calls. And so that's where you have to come in. And if you're up on your business, you make those doulas invisible. So it's a lot of people that say that they're doulas, but they don't have time to really service people or create a brand the way that it's supposed to be done. So develop your niche, and your niche is something that's going to it's where you have a specific target audience. Like you may target deaf mothers or mothers with special needs, or something where it's really specific. So it doesn't mean that you don't serve women outside of that range. You just want to make sure that you develop a niche to make you stand out, because when you're specific, that's when your branding becomes a lot more it just becomes like clearly visible when you know exactly who you're serving. So you have to find out what makes you stand apart. So if it's fitness, if it's herbs, if it's wound wellness, if you're big on just a traditional postpartum technique, you could stand apart by focusing on women of advanced maternal age, um, women who are incarcerated, on have drug addictions, just so many things that can make you stand apart by having a specialty and having a niche. So have a clear vision on how you want your business to be, how you want your company to run. And of course it changes over time, and then once you start doing things, you'll see that you want to change and do other things. So develop your colors and your theme so that when people see something like it, they will think of you. And so that's once if somebody tried to duplicate you, people was like, no, that's so and so's brand, or I saw somebody trying to be like you. They had this and that, so that means you have developed your clear brand. So after you've been clear on your brand and develop your why, and I mean being very very clear on how you want to look to people, you start to develop your advertising plan, and you need to develop a way for people to learn about your brand. You can hire and outsource companies to do this, and or you can do it yourself. You can create social media pages. Social media is big. You don't have to necessarily, if you don't do social media yourself, there's other ways outside of it. There's some print, and then face to face, but social media is really big, especially among the age sector, the people who are having children. They can't keep their phone down. So it would be wise to do something on social media, even if you hire a marketing and advertising company. And those pages shouldn't be private, and they should look business related. There's nothing wrong with sharing personal things, but it shouldn't be like so much personal things to where people don't really understand what your business is, or even that you're in business. Um, so you need to develop your contracts. That's really important. Set your guidelines and put it in writing. Simply state what the customer will be getting and your price. Be very, very clear and precise. Don't I know that you can't have a lawyer to look over it and create it, whatever, but you don't want it to be too legalese and something where people can't understand it. Let it be very clear on what you're offering, and state your refund policy and your cancellation policy, because sometimes people do want refunds. Sometimes people do cancel, whether they have a miscarriage or for some reason they have financial difficulty where they can't afford you anymore. You want to be clear about that and not hide it. Say, hey, we don't do refunds at all, or we do refunds after a certain time, or if this happens. So always get your agreement signed before payment and or before services begin. It's so important because we are dealing with hormonal, emotional people that can be up and down. You got to understand, pregnant women can be a little unsolid. Women, period, but and people, period, can change their mind all the time. But we're dealing with some women who have mood changes. And, they could have other people in their ear about things. So you always want to make sure that you get your agreement signed and get your payment before you start. And it's best to get that payment before you do the birth, because unfortunately, some women will have you to help them and promise to pay and will not pay. So with the birth settings, there's three birth settings, and that's going to be the home birth, birthing center, hospital. So I definitely prefer the home, really the birth center. I prefer the birth center more than anything, because when you're at the birthing center, everything is already set up for you. You still have a little bit of the medical side there, but it's also like a home setting, but it's not their actual home. And they're welcoming and open to doulas, and they always have a kitchen. It's a comfortable feel most of the time, and birthing centers is just better because it's a neutral place too. So when you're doing home births, the thing about home birth, like someone could have maybe visitors in their home that makes you not feel all the way comfortable. They can have visitors in the birthing center too, but it's totally different. It's not their home. People could have messy homes, dirty homes. So that could be an issue too. But if they have like a nice, good home, that'll be better over a birthing center. But just have to let you know that sometimes people homes are it doesn't it just be stuff everywhere, and that could kind of mess with the way that you work. So you always want to visit these places before you actually do the birth. Hospitals, of course, hospital when you visit one, you've visited them all pretty much. There are some newer ones that are fancier, but it's pretty much the same thing. You want to check out the parking area, and you want to go with the birthing center. You could visit. That's more. You can visit, check out everything. Also, get to know the midwife, so she'll feel more comfortable with you too. The hospitals, see if they're gonna like be if there's paid parking, free parking, if parking is an issue or whatever. Sometimes parking could be one place and delivery could be in another area. It's just good to just get familiar with where you will be birthing, because when you are called for the birth, you don't have time to check all this stuff out. And babies can come whenever, and hopefully they call you early enough to where you will get there on time and you won't miss the actual birth. So when you get to these places, you want to look for outlets, refrigerator, and kitchen. Of course, at the hospital, I don't see them letting you use their kitchen. They all have kitchens and beds and everything, comfortable areas for the staff. But when you're in the hospital, you can be limited to outlets. So if you want to bring an extension cord, you can do that to plug up the tools that you're going to be using. So when it comes to getting clients, which is that's what we want, because if we don't have clients, then we don't have a business. You cannot be shy. You have to tell everyone that you know. Don't keep it a secret. You can send a text message to like everybody who's already in your text, or create an email list, send out an email blast, go to where your potential clients are. So after you develop your niche and you find out who you want to serve, you can just hang out where they are. Make sure that even if you can leave flyers, where they are visible. I wouldn't leave a lot because sometimes they do get trashed. But some places have bulletins where you can pin it up so people can see your advertising information. So once you start telling people and you start getting clients, it really becomes easy to get going, because word of mouth is the best advertising, but you also want to add into that by getting other people who don't know anything about you to know about you. And I also have a private doula coaching program if you wanted to join that, where it's a lot more one-on-one basic well, we go beyond basic, but one-on-one coaching program where you can get to know how you can do all of these things and be more successful in your business as a doula.